According to the Department of Veterans Affairs, around 2.7 million Americans served in the Vietnam War.
Less than 850,000 of those veterans are still living. Lauren Davis spoke with one of those Vietnam veterans and shows us why serving his country is so important to him.
Larry Schoenwald is a Minot native. He is also a Vietnam War veteran who served in the United States Army.
I was in the Vietnam War towards the end of it. I was there in 1972, and that was, after a lot of things were, Americans were starting to go home a lot. And I served with 2 helicopter companies. One went home before I had enough time in to go with them, so I had to stay.
Schoenwald had many pictures from his time in the Army, but he lost them during a move. He comes from a family of military service members.
My dad was in the Navy in World War II, and my uncles were in the Army. One of them was in Korea, the other was in Germany, and then I think I was the next one. I went to Vietnam, and my son was in the Navy, and he was in between wars, which I was glad of.
Schoenwald worked as a mechanic for 2 helicopter companies during his tour from October 1971 to October 1972. He says sometimes he was able to fly.
When we'd fly, we'd fly so low to the ground that it was almost like driving or riding a motorcycle, because the North Vietnamese, the Russians had given a bunch of heat-seeker missiles, so they started shooting our helicopters down with those. So in order to avoid that, we'd fly very low.
Not only did these soldiers experience a difficult time in Vietnam, their welcome home was anything but easy. After the Vietnam War, many Americans were upset and did not give our military personnel a warm welcome.
When I came back, people, weren't all that enthused to see us, but I understand the situation, and I don't hold anything against anybody.
He thanks the veterans that came after him for making it okay to be a veteran again.
I have to give a real shout out to the veterans that came after us, Vietnam veterans, because they really made it okay to be a veteran again.
Schoenwald also says he recommends military service because it teaches good values and it allows you to experience new things. One of the most common reasons people join the military is because they feel drawn to serving their country. This sense of duty or a calling to service can arise from patriotic family values or the desire to do something meaningful, just like Schoenwald did. For KX News, I'm Lauren Davis.
According to the state, more than 15,000 North Dakotans served in Vietnam. 198 North Dakotans never made it back home. And we'll continue to honor our brave men and women who served our country every day with these stories until Veterans Day.